We're live.
Live. So it's Nick, right?
Yep.
Nick, is it Dozier?
Yep.
Dozier.
Dozier, yep.
And when I first met Anthony, he told me about you, and you're the Overland Nashville.
That's
or
me.
the Nashville Overland, which one is it?
Overland Nashville.
So-
or however you want to say it.
But the Overland term, right? Don't you think kind of lately it's been really put out there? I don't even know what it means. Do you know what it means? Do you have is there a definition for it?
Pretty much camping in your car.
Is that what it is?
The real definition is like being self-sufficient for many days with a vehicle, like being vehicle self-sufficient.
Okay.
Something along those lines.
So when you're over the land, okay, I get it.
Yeah, you're just driving.
And so,
miles.
okay, so what is this Overland right here? What is this?
It's a Toyota 4Runner 2004. It does
Okay.
have the V8 motor in it. That is factory with
Okay.
this gen 4Runner. This is the only 4Runner that has a V8, this generation at least.
Okay. So was it a 4? It's like a 4 point what? What is
4.7.
4.7.
So it's like what your Lexus GX has, your LX 470, and then your 100 series Land Cruiser all share that same motor. And there's a couple Lexus, I believe, a couple Lexus sedans that have that motor as well.
Well, you know, when I was my first car was an '88 Pathfinder.
Okay.
And I remember at the time there wasn't many SUVs out there, but it was the Pathfinder and the 4Runner, maybe a couple other ones. But I remember my Pathfinder had 150 horsepower, but the 4Runner, I could be wrong, maybe it's the other way around. I think the Pathfinder had 153 horsepower, and the 4Runner had 150 horsepower.
Okay.
And I always, when I was in high school, whenever I pulled up to a 4Runner, I was like, I got 3 more horsepower than you.
Yeah, I'm better.
So what is it? So what do these have?
I have no idea.
You have no idea?
Nope. Something. They got some horsepower.
It's probably got what, 300 or maybe a little less, or
Probably. Yeah.
But
But I should have done some research before I came.
no, it's okay. So how long have you had it?
I've had this for about 18 months now.
Okay. So when you were you like an overland person before?
So grew up on a farm, so we always had some kind of toy to play with.
Mm-hmm.
4 brothers, 2 sisters. So we were always outside. We had
Yeah.
we had a bell my mom would ring, like, hey, dinner time. And
And
we'd all
you're out there in the
somewhere.
That's awesome.
So we'd come in, eat dinner. We had go-karts. My grandpa had a 4-wheeler. We weren't really allowed to have 4-wheelers because my mom was a little bit nervous about them, dirt bikes and stuff. She's like, nope. But we had a go-kart and lawnmowers and different things like that.
Yeah.
Then, like, as my brothers got older, they bought cars and they bought Jeeps or Broncos or Bronco Sport. Nothing, nothing cool like you guys have.
Yeah. Well, maybe a Bronco 2.
Yeah, Bronco 2. Yes. That's
Is that
the one.
really a Bronco?
I don't know.
Which
it says Bronco, right?
I think that was on like a Ford Ranger chassis or something. Hey,
It looks like a Ford Ranger.
not knocking the Ford Ranger, but hey.
But yeah, we would, I was probably 10 years old and they were all 16, 17, 18, however old it was, and they'd take me off-roading. And I was like, this is cool. Then they graduated to my oldest brother, Chris, he was like a big Isuzu guy, so he would have the Troopers and he'd lift
The
those
Amigo.
up.
The Amigo?
No, he never had an Amigo. He always had a Trooper.
Okay.
Like I think they called it the Trooper 2. And then he had 2 or 3 buddies that would come out with him. Another guy had a newer Trooper. The other one had I think it was a Land Rover Discovery 1, all built up, had the bumpers, the winches, all the cool stuff.
Yeah.
And then my other brother, I'm going to say brother-in-law because I have so many of them, but
Yeah,
he bought a 2001 Jeep Cherokee 5-speed that was, I think, on like 33s.
Manual?
Manual.
Oh, yeah.
Super nice vehicle. It was like that hunter green. He kept that thing pristine. It was beautiful. But he would off-road it from time to time. And like for my oldest brother, his bachelor party, we went to Telco and just had 5 or 6 dudes and a couple of vehicles, and we're all off-roading. I was 9th grade, maybe 10th grade, just like having the time of my life.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where.
Like 4 years ago?
Yeah, right. Yeah, maybe what was that? 15 years ago.
I know, just kidding.
But yeah, that's how I kind of got into it. It's always been off-roading to me.
Yeah.
I got into Overland because when I had a personal page, back then I had a 2006 Chevy Colorado 5-speed, nothing fancy about it. But I would message these people I'd see on Instagram like, hey, I'd like to go ride with you guys. And I'd never get any responses. So then finally I started Overland Nashville, and people started messaging me back like, hey.
Was all the name? Was it just the name?
Probably. I don't know.
That's hilarious.
But I guess they thought I was cool enough since I had Overland in my name. I paid the Overland tax and I got that name. And,
What do you mean Overland tax?
Oh, it's just.
Was that a joke?
Yeah, it's a joke.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty much. Like if you put the name Overland in it, the price goes up 25%. So.
Well, so how many all the Overland people out there, and I'm sure there's a lot. How many people do you think actually use them? Because just looking at this thing, I mean, a lot of people can't see the whole thing, but you use it.
Yeah, so I would say probably 25%
Okay.
of them actually use it. I'm sure some of the guys are doing gravel roads
Soft.
and camping.
Well, there's nothing like,
yeah.
look, hey, I use mine, but again, the last thing I want to do is break it.
Yeah.
So, I have limits, things I won't do.
You know your limits.
Yeah, because I love the thing, right? I mean, I have a long history with it. I mean, and I think what's cool about this one especially is that you have all the creature comforts. I mean, you probably have ice cold AC,
Yep, fixed that last
leather
year.
seats,
Well, seat covers.
but a nice,
Yes.
comfortable ride. It's not rattling everywhere.
Oh,
right?
it rattles.
Oh, does it?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's she's no perfect little princess, but she gets me from A to B.
Yeah.
It's a Toyota, so it's gonna get me from A to Z really if I wanted it to.
Man, it's so fun. Like the whole Toyota thing. Like I don't know what it is. Maybe it's American. I gotta buy an American car and all this stuff. But I'm starting to kind of get like a little hard on for a Toyota, and I think my next like family car would be a Toyota because they last forever.
Depending on which one you go with, anything previous to like 2020, I'd say you're
Pre
golden.
2020. Why after 20?
They started putting all those hybrids and doing all
okay.
the 4 cylinders, turbocharged, blah blah blah.
You don't want any of that.
I don't want any car past 2020.
Yeah.
With all the shortages we had, who knows what kind of
What they
crap
did.
they were throwing into them. So for me, I mean, it's going to be hard to go buy a 2024 or 2025 or 5 years from now when I need another car, a 2030.
Too many computers and just too many who knows what.
Too much stuff and just piecemeal stuff. Just hey, we couldn't get this, so we got it from this other supplier kind of deal.
That's a good point.
So
well, that kind of reminds me of like 2008. I remember when nobody was making money, but like Chrysler, and it's like, how did they put that together with the cheapest parts possible?
Yeah. They found a way to do it.
They found a way to do it. And you mentioned bumper earlier. This is pretty serious. What's going on here?
Yeah, so I'm going to have to shout out this company, Hefty Fab. This is my third Hefty Fab because we haven't got there yet, but I've had 3 off-road vehicles. The other 2 were Nissans, and I loved the way the Hefty Fab looked on the Nissan Frontier. And then we put a Hefty Fab on my wife's Nissan Xterra.
Is she an Overland or two?
She'll go off-road, and she'll
Okay.
do all that stuff, camping.
yeah.
Since we had the baby, it's she's a little bit more like, hey, I
Why don't
enjoy
you just go?
I enjoy the creature comforts of home.
Yeah,
I have AC,
sure,
I
yeah.
have running water. I don't blame her at all. It gets pretty rough out there sometimes, but
Yeah, so my neighbor, he has the Land Cruiser, and it's like the popular one that everybody wants. And
that's
it's like,
the 80 series Land Cruiser.
I looked at it, and it was like 180,000 miles, $40,000, and I was like, man. But it's the best thing on earth.
Yeah. That's my dream car would be an 80 series Land Cruiser, triple locked.
So when you say 80 series, I only know the year.
So it's like it's 90s. I think they stopped.
Oh,
in
like the bubbly.
Yeah, squarish body. I believe. I don't know when they started it, but I think they stopped it in like 97, maybe 96.
I know what you're talking about.
But just a total
Utilitarian.
utilitarian vehicle.
Utilitarian.
Yeah.
I think there's a guy that drives around here. He's got like it's all murdered out. And he's got the roof rack, and it's always shining. I don't know if he uses it,
Probably
but
not.
probably not. But those only have like a little 6-cylinder, right?
Yeah, they're a little 6-cylinder.
But that's enough.
A lot of guys will do a LS swap in them. There's a guy down in Nolensville, Mill Creek, Overland.
Yeah.
He runs an automotive shop. They do all off-road lifts and stuff. That's who I bought my lift kit from.
But you put it in yourself.
Yeah. He told me I could use his shop, but I got so trigger happy I just put it in my garage.
As soon as it
did
arrived?
As soon as it arrived, like 30 minutes into it.
Leave me alone. I'm going to be here. How long did it take you?
Probably 2 days, just because I was, at that point we had a 8-month-old baby, maybe a 6-month-old baby. That was March of last year, so he would have been 9 months old. So it was like when he was napping, I was working on the car. That was, an hour-long nap.
Yeah.
Anytime my wife let me get out in the garage, I was down there just
Hammering away.
just going to town.
I wish. See, man, I wish like I'm limited. I know my strengths and weaknesses, right? And I'm just a little impatient. Like if there's a project going to take 2 days,
You put it off.
I
have plenty of those projects. My wife has a honey-do list that I've been putting off for months because I know it's going to take a full day, and I know I need to do it. I just haven't done it yet. I have other things I want to do.
So the ultimate like overland vehicle for you would be the Land Cruiser. Like if money was no option.
Yeah. I'd probably buy an 80 series Land Cruiser. Well, if it was like money no option,
Yeah.
it'd be a 200 series Land Cruiser.
Okay, tell me what that.
I'd get a 5.7 V8 motor,
Okay.
leather seats, heated and cooled. My wife drives one. She drives a Lexus version, it's LX 570, and it's just a wonderful car to drive. It's smooth. But I would do the Toyota.
Okay.
It's more. It doesn't have the AHC, which is like a ride height thing.
Okay.
It's coil sprung in the rear. It's just a sweet ride. Like, you see them around town, you're like, God, that thing's just
And
a
it's just
beast.
and it's just going to Home Goods.
Yeah,
And it's going to Target.
exactly. No one's actually out. There's actually quite a few people out there using them, which is really cool.
Well, I think it's hard to like. What's the thing? How much are those things new?
Brand new,
100,000?
yeah, 100 grand.
Okay, not many people.
Yeah.
Are gonna take that thing and do what you do, but maybe 10, 15 years down the road.
Yeah, yeah, because
Be a good-
the 200. I think they started that one in like 2009. So there's older ones. I would want one 16 and newer, just because they have the new facelift on it, and they're just a much more aggressive looking vehicle. They just look sweet.
Yeah. So Toyota man through and through. I mean, nothing would change your mind?
I used to be a full Nissan guy. Loved my Nissans. And then I was a true Nissan enthusiast forever. And then my Nissan Titan at 70,000 miles, I ate a transmission. And at the time, we were looking to get my wife a newer car. We were going to look at an Armada. My transmission went out. I said, nope, we're not doing that again. So we went and bought her that Lexus.
I think I might shop when it's time for a Toyota.
Yeah.
For the family vehicle.
I think you'd be very happy.
Yeah.
That Ford out there is perfect.
I tell you though, a friend of mine has the new TRD Sequoia.
Those things are sweet.
But it's after 2020, like you said, you probably wouldn't get one of those.
Well, right now those motors are having recalls.
Oh, really?
Heavy recalls, yeah. Something about when they were milling the motor, they left shavings inside of it and closed it up. So now I want to say Toyota on Saturday sent out a huge recall on that, the Sequoia, the Tundra, the GX 560, and possibly even the LX 600. I haven't read into it fully, but I believe they're having some issues right now with those motors. They say they have a fix for it.
Yeah.
But it's Toyota, it's a first year motor. They're going to fix it and come out with something better.
But what is it that makes them, run forever?
Shoot.
I mean, same idea.
Yeah.
But why? I don't understand why. Like, some cars are really pieces of shit, and then you can have a Toyota out there with putting a million miles on it.
Yeah. I wish I knew the answer to that. There's something about Japanese people that
they just
take pride in their work,
Yeah.
whereas an American factory, it's those guys are paid.
assembly line. Yeah.
They're paid hourly. They don't care.
Yeah.
As soon as their shift's almost up,
Yeah.
we don't care. We got 30 minutes and we have 2 more cars to do. Okay, yeah, throw that thing together.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah.
get it out of here.
So what's the for this truck? What's the next? Do you have do you go like once a month, or like what do you usually?
Yeah,
Do
so
you have like a schedule?
I'd say once a quarter, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I think this year I've done it quite a bit more than that. My next trip is actually Father's Day weekend. We'll go up to Winter Rock for a little event called G Smitter, Great Smoky Mountain Toyota Roundup or something like that is what it's called. It's just a bunch of Toyota guys, Land Cruisers, 4Runners, Tacomas.
And they get into it, right? I mean,
Oh yeah, there'll be guys balls to the wall, and there's going to be the guys, the soft roaders that are
Yeah.
taking the easier trails.
nicer
I'll
paint.
do.
And
Yeah.
now, which
nicer
trail will
paint.
you go on?
I don't know yet. We're going to figure that out.
You're gonna figure that out.
We'll
Wait for the
see.
first guy to go and say, "Yeah, maybe I'll do that."
Yeah, maybe I won't do that one.
maybe I won't do that one.
I do off-road it, but I also at the same time try to baby it a little bit.
Yeah, again, you don't want to break it.
I don't want to break it. At the same time, it's like I want to do some harder stuff,
Yeah.
but I'm not going to be that guy that's just hitting the rev limit or trying to bounce over
Bounce it
something.
over. Yeah.
I'm going to hit it. All right, that didn't work. Let's reset. Try it a different way. All right, that didn't work. All right, let's throw a winch and get me over this.
Are you running a spotter? Do you usually have a spotter or no?
Typically, yeah, depending
okay.
on how we're doing it, depending on what the difficulty of the trail is.
Uh-huh.
If it's a difficult trail, yeah, as soon as one guy gets over it, he'll typically jump out and help the next guy.
the next person.
If that guy up front if he needs a spot, the guy behind him will jump up and help. But it really depends on how technical that section is.
Have you seen a lot of people like flip over?
I've never seen. I've actually never seen a flip over on a trail. Last year we were doing an event called the Red Clay Rally, and about 5 minutes after we left, I believe it was a Bronco that flipped, maybe a Jeep. I think it was a Jeep. But you have to. You actually had to reset, and there was a huge, just a washout, and you come up over this straight up obstacle.
Don't hit the brakes.
Hell, you didn't have to hit the brakes. It was going to stop you anyway. But he kind of got up, and then he started going sideways, and then he rolled over. Luckily, he didn't go into the big ravine. It was probably a 12-foot ditch. Oof. He just kind of toppled over, I think, on his driver door, and they were able to pull him back up. But before that happened, I was maybe the 5th or 6th car that came up. There was actually a tree there that was kind of stopping everybody from sliding, and I think so many people coming down smacked that tree so many times the tree just wasn't working anymore to stop you from rolling over.
Well, I've seen some of those things on Instagram, whatever, where those guys are,
doing.
But crazy. It's usually, I mean, they usually have a full. If you're getting into stuff like that, you got a full cage, right? I mean,
full cage.
You don't want to get out there and get hurt, break your truck, or get hurt, right? I mean,
those guys with those cages, they spend some money. And they're out there to break something. Yeah, they're just out there to have balls to the wall, have fun.
And get a good video, right?
And get good videos.
Yeah.
A good story.
So if you're going out there for like, I don't know, 2 or 3 days, whatever, do you sleep in it?
I have. I do.
Like a tent?
Yeah, I have a Gazelle tent. It's just a quick.
Is it outside the car or is it attached to the car?
Yeah, it's outside.
Okay.
I have slept in it before. It's not super comfortable. Not a lot of wind flow.
Especially with all your stuff in there. You just
I would just pull it all out, throw it under the vehicle.
Yeah.
I'd keep my fridge in there, but yeah.
You're making me kind of want to get one of these, something like this, right?
It's fun.
I just don't have anywhere to put it.
You got a big driveway.
Yeah. And so, do you ever see like older stuff, like maybe not Toyota, like on your adventures? I mean, is there people?
Yeah, there's guys out there with Troopers and the Amigos and Land Rovers. Old Jeeps. I have a buddy with a
CJ old Jeep.
Yeah. I think he has a whatever the longer one is.
Scrambler.
It's like a Scrambler or whatever they call those, a CJ7 or LJ, whatever, I don't know. But he's got one of those. It's pretty sweet. He did I think Dana 60 front and rear, lockers, 35. It's sweet. Yeah. He's got a really nice rig. Then his 100 series Land Cruiser. He has maybe like a 2006, 2004. But he did a front and rear locker on that. I actually broke his front locker.
You did?
Yeah. So when I was in between off-road vehicles, we did Red Clay Rally, and I towed his Jeep up there, and he drove his Land Cruiser, because he had all his camping gear in the Land Cruiser. And our little stipulation was, I tow your vehicle up there, then I get to drive your Land Cruiser. And
then you break it?
Yeah, and then, we got to the first obstacle, and I was like, all right, see what these lockers do, and I get up it. It didn't technically break. It just wouldn't disengage.
Okay.
So then we get off that obstacle and nothing's happening. No lockers disengaging. And so I had to call him, and he thought I was messing with him. Because I do have a tendency to mess with people. Like, hey, man, I broke your shit.
I like that.
So I called him. He's like, yeah, whatever. And didn't think twice about it. So then everyone's calling. I'm like, dude, Nick broke your car. So finally they brought my car back over there with all the tools and everything. So I had to pretty much pull the drive shaft, pull out the whatever they pull out, and made it a two-wheel drive vehicle at that point to get it home.
And it was fine.
It was fun, yeah. We had a good time on the side of the road somewhere in Bumfuck, Kentucky.
Yeah.
But it was fun. Luckily, we didn't see any blue people. But
so if something happened to this, I mean, I don't know if you love it that much, but let's say you blew the motor or something major happened, would you keep it and fix it, or would you just or is it just kind of like a toy? It's
kind of a toy.
Yeah.
Do I have like a true love for it?
Yeah.
Am I in love with it? No, I like it.
Yeah.
If I blew the motor, depends on how quick and how cheap I can get a new motor. Yeah. If I could get a motor for, less than $2,000, I'd probably put a motor in it.
In the same one.
Yeah. Yep. I probably wouldn't do a GM motor or a Coyote or anything like that.
Yeah, those Coyotes are expensive.
Are they? I've never even tried to search for one.
I mean, the story behind this green one it's amazing. So that was just a 345, right? IH, and it was no power steering whip, no power brakes. I told the story before, but my wife, she couldn't drive. She could, but didn't want to drive it because steering, it was hard. Especially, when you're going, it's fine.
Yeah.
But turning
pulling
and parking,
out of parking
so
lots,
she's like, I want a power steering kit. And the kit was like $2,300.
Damn.
And then, there's a lot of welding, which you're a welder. but there was significant labor involved. And so it was going to be like, $4,000 or $4,500. I was like, man, this is just for power steering. And I found an LS for like $2,300.
With everything.
But there's a lot more labor involved.
To fit an LS in there.
I mean, a lot.
Yeah.
But, I mean, again, this was a used LS, but I think the Coyote I looked new because I was trying to do something different. And they were like $10,000 or $15,000.
New?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if they were new or
Newish.
rebuilt. I can't remember. But they were significantly more than the LS.
That's what I guess there's so many more LSs out there that it's supply and demand.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know if I would do an LS. I don't think so.
The Overland has a koozie in it, amongst other tools.
Oh yeah, an Iron Man 4x4. I think my buddy Josh gave me this.
What else is in there?
Right now?
That would surprise somebody.
Really? I have a jack in there, tools, a recovery set, and then my drone. But that's about it.
That's reminding me of the recovery. I saw this video, and I know there's people that want to be safe and do things right, and there's people that go, things will be fine, right? But the winch, do you put the towel on it?
Yeah, I actually have a little thing.
Because have you seen when those things?
Oh,
I saw a video. Some guy was like recording or something, and I think I might have killed the guy.
Yeah, I've seen videos where it did. Usually it's chains. Or like cable winches. My winch is all synthetic.
Yeah, so it'll just kind of poof.
It still has some energy in it.
Yeah.
But it as long as the metal didn't ricochet and hit you, but the winch line itself, it loses power a lot quicker than a tension on a cable or a chain.
So now, does your towel, is it branded with Overland Nashville on there?
No, it's got ARB on it.
No?
It's haven't really gotten into the whole branding thing. I
love it, man. That's a great logo. Who made the logo?
My buddy Josh, Feral Pig Rig on Instagram. He is a designer, a real estate agent.
That's cool.
He kind of does it all. So he hit me up and said, "Hey man, I'd love to help." It's like, sure.
So like, what about some of your gear? Like tire wise, do you have like a tire that's like your tire, or do you just
I really like these Geolanders.
Okay.
So on my Frontier, I used to have a tire that I loved. It was a Goodyear MTR. It was a good mix of like an all-terrain and a mud terrain, but it was more on the mud terrain side. Wonderful tire. It was super heavy, but it was a great tire. Then I switched it up to the Geolanders mud terrain, and then when we sold that, I got the Titan. Did a trade on the Titan. And then my wife's car, I always put all-terrain tires on it. And then this one, I put mainly because I found them on Marketplace for $800. And
Tires are expensive.
And I got 5. So $800 brand new would have cost me probably around $1,400 or so for 5 tires. So I thought, hey, it's a good deal. Drove down to Chattanooga to pick them up. No big deal.
What about I love BF Goodrich.
Yeah, that's what I have on my daily driver. Has
all-terrain,
the new KO3s.
KO3s, yeah. I wanted to get the tires on my Scout. I mean, they're probably 12 to 13 years old.
Yeah, they're still rocking.
And they're fine.
They're I guess you keep it in the garage most times, so it's not getting baked by the sun.
Yeah.
And keeping it out of the elements. You might have a little bit of dry rot, but
I mean, so if I was going to get some, I wanted to get some BF Goodrich, the KM3s.
Yeah.
But they make that red, white, and blue lettering. Have you seen that?
Yep.
That's what I would do.
I get hit with their ads
daily
on Instagram.
Well, you're probably going to get another one because we just talked about it.
BFG Goodrich. Yeah. Thank you, government.
So your next trip, where'd you say you were going to go?
Windrock. It's up there in Oliver Springs, Tennessee.
Could I go?
Yeah. You can bring the Scout. You can ride. Well, I do have one passenger.
Do you have a passenger?
I don't have any rear seats in this.
How do you think my Expedition would do? Not very good.
You'd get the camp.
Get the town.
Yeah, you get the camp, and you can be our parts runner.
Yeah. Well, because like I said, I would love to do some of that stuff with my Scout too. But without the top, you're exposed, obviously, right? And the top, you need 3-4 guys to do it. It's a pain in the ass to take on and off. So once it's on, it's kind of on for the season. But I want to get into more of that stuff. I just some of the guys in our group here, they go out a little bit. But I want to do some of that stuff.
They do like day trip stuff or camp maybe.
Yeah, I mean they'll go. Was it? I'm not from here, but I know. Is it the LBL?
Yeah,
in between, they'll go
Land
there.
Between the Lakes. Yep.
Or the Devil's Dirt Track.
Dirt Devil. That's not really a camping area. That's more just.
It's like a gravel road.
Yeah, it's a gravel road with some creek crossings. It's fun. I mean, if it really really rains, it's pretty dang fun.
Is it?
Yeah. I mean, you're talking. You're now driving through a creek that's usually a trickle,
really?
and you're actually, if it rains good, you're now driving through a creek that's.
Do you need 4-wheel drive though? No.
If it rains really hard, yeah.
Okay.
If it didn't rain really hard, you should be fine. I've driven it many times on 2-wheel drive.
Yeah.
And never even touched the 4-wheel drive button. This one right here is all-time 4-wheel drive.
Is it really? Is it factory?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yep. So it's got the center differential to really lock it in 4-wheel drive.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a all-time 4-wheel drive.
All-time badass.
Yeah, pretty much.
Do people talk to you at the, like at the gas station or something?
Yeah,
Say,
I was going for like hot women, but it's always old men, so.
Maybe you needed to get a different car.
Yeah, I guess so.
Painted a different color.
Go get a pink motorcycle?
Yeah. Going for the women.
No, not really. I just wanted my wife to hear that.
Yeah. That's cool, man. And do you run just regular fuel? Just
Yeah.
Regular fuel. How often do you change oil?
Probably about every 3,000 miles, which is like every 5 years.
Yeah. So how far do you usually drive a year?
So I've had this thing since February of 2023, and I've put 5,000 miles on it in 18 months. So about 5,000 miles a year-ish.
What about insurance? How do you insure this thing? Is it
liability only?
Yeah.
I think it's like $40 a month.
Yeah.
I do have like super high payouts if I hit somebody, just to cover my own ass. So they don't come sue me and.
But if it's totaled, it's just kind of a.
Yeah, if it's totaled, it's totaled.
It's just a loss.
At that point, if I can fix it, I'll fix it. If not, I'll scrap it and call people, say, hey, I got a motor or transmission.
Yeah. Those 6'5" Rover guys. You ever cruise around with them?
I have not yet. I've hung out with them a few times over at Mill Creek Brewery.
Yeah.
But I've actually never done any rides with them. And every time they have their meet, it's like, I need to go to that, and then I forget about it. So I haven't even done any of that with them yet. But maybe one of these days.
I like that Mill Creek. That's always a good turnout, man.
Yeah,
it was fun.
Mill Creek's fun. I do a toy drive out there every December, which is pretty cool.
Do you ever go to like Cars and Coffee? Like, is this something that you would take to it? Like,
yeah, I've been up there 2 or 3 times with this guy. I like Cars and Coffee. It's fun. I wish they still did it in Franklin.
They do.
Oh, they do.
So I loved it when it was at the theater.
Yeah.
I mean, where we
quick
live,
and easy.
It's quick and easy, and it was generally a nice crowd. Except sometimes you get the people doing burnouts and pissing everybody off. And so they moved it way out there, which is nice, but it's far and it's a little overwhelming.
Yeah,
right?
so
You want to
it's
see everything. You're walking a lot, whatever. So there, if you on Facebook, they have like a it's just called I don't know if it's Nashville or Franklin Cars and Coffee, and they do it every Saturday, and it's at a church now.
Okay.
So
good to know.
I think I'm going to try and go this Saturday. I think you should go too.
Yeah, my sister is coming into town, but I don't know what time she's coming, so maybe we can plan that out and get up there and hang out.
Yeah.
I will say though, you asked about the Land Rover guys. A couple weeks ago we were down at Colmont, and one of the, I think it was a Discovery 1 or Discovery 2, probably Discovery 2, I think. But yeah, he broke. So we don't really like hanging out with Land Rover guys.
Because they break all the time.
Because they break all the time. No, I'm just kidding, Anthony.
Well, I think I told this story to him. I had an '04 Range Rover. I was trying to be a big shot at the time. But we were at the beach with my wife, and I had torn my Achilles, and I had this boot on, and it was Memorial Day, and we're going up the ramp right next to a bar, and there was a zillion people there drinking and partying, and the thing didn't do anything, and it was grinding in every gear except for park. And everybody's like, move that fucking thing, get it out of the way, And I was like, so I move it back, sitting in the sand. I don't know what to do. And the water starts coming out. I'm like, oh my God, this is the most embarrassing thing.
Yeah.
And I think it was a transfer case. I can't remember what it was, but it was a recall. It was $13,000.
Wow.
And so they fixed it, and I was like, I don't want this anymore.
Yeah, get rid of it.
Yeah.
My brother, he was being a big shot. He bought a '04 Land Rover Discovery, but he thought what he was buying was a Land Cruiser, but he got them mixed up.
He got it mixed up.
And he bought this Land Rover instead of the Land Cruiser. He now does own the Land Cruiser.
Okay.
But it took him, after buying it, he thought he was buying the right vehicle, and afterwards he was very mad at himself for buying the.
Did he keep it? No.
He kept it for a while.
Yeah.
He probably drove it for 2 or 3 years, and then he sold it to my other brother's wife's sister. She bought it. I don't know what happened to it after that.
I think you have said brother
150 times.
150 times.
When you have 4 of them, and you have stories about all of them, you say your brother. They're all older than me, so I can't say, oh, my older brother. Oh, my older brother. Well, which one?
All
They're all older. So.
So what's the farthest you've taken this?
Oh man, not really far. North Carolina.
Oh, well, I mean, those tires hum pretty good. Is it uncomfortable after about 2-3 hours?
Yeah, I mean when you go from like a plush ride every day, you know it's big. You have a center console that's a foot wide and cup holders and CarPlay. It's just so nice. And then you get in this thing, it's like you feel a little bit more cramped.
And you got your CD cranking?
I don't even have a CD. My sister-in-law left a CD in it, and I remember playing it for a while, and I was like, what is this music? It's probably still in there. I just don't listen to it anymore.
Yeah.
So I'll just find the local stations, or I have a little Fender, like Bluetooth speaker.
Oh, yeah, and just boot with your phone.
I'll just do it to my phone. I do have a plan to do a CarPlay and redo all the speakers. It's just money. It's like,
yeah, I mean, you save so much money with these $20 lights. You probably have some...
I can probably put a $20 stereo in it.
$20, right?
Do like a 15-inch subwoofer.
Yeah. I used to have 12s in my Pathfinder.
There you
Took
go.
up all the trunk space.
Heck
Of course, I was
yeah.
listening to Pearl Jam at the time with 12s. It was great.
I have a little 10-inch in my Titan right now.
You have a 10-inch?
It's just, perfect little added bass. Yeah. Yeah, I wish. Is that big? I have a little, I have a 10-inch system in the Titan. It's just perfect for a little bit of added bass. And, if I want to get, kind of ghetto, I can really crank it up.
Really crank it up, yeah.
Or I'll just play like George Michael and,
Ooh,
yeah.
Careless Whisper?
Oh, yeah.
It's not bad. That's not a bad song.
It's a good song.
What's that, is it just like a booster that your antenna?
That's for my radio. Little.
So you can get stations farther and...
No, that's just to talk to people on the trail.
Do you have a CB?
Mm-hmm. It's not a CB. It's a GMRS radio or GSMR, however you... Too many letters.
Yeah, it's a radio.
It's a little, it's pretty much a CB, yes.
Okay.
Just
but a fancier CB.
2024 CB.
2024 CB.
It's a little bit, it's a lot more compact. I have all the controls in the handheld.
So everybody's on the same channel on the trail, and you can say, hey, little to the right or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that what it's for? Okay.
Or just shoot the shit with them.
Yeah.
Say, hey, you got something hanging off your truck. Things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's that. Got the snorkel. It's just for looks. It's not even hooked up.
It's not hooked up?
It's hooked up. I'm kidding. It's definitely hooked up.
So does that function all the time?
Yeah.
Technically. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, it's sealed.
Sealed.
So it's pretty much just moves your intake up.
Yeah.
Is it for water? Yeah, a little bit. It's more so for dust and debris.
Yeah.
So you're not sucking it into your...
So it's functional. It's not like the fake hood scoops, right, where people put them on there and...
It doesn't do anything.
It doesn't do anything. It just looks really cool.
Yeah.
You know what? It looks cool.
It depends on the vehicle.
And it functions. That does.
Oh, that, yeah.
Yeah.
I like it. It's fun. My wife calls it a dorkle.
Dorkle?
Dorkle, yeah.
Does she think you're a dork?
Probably. I can't really blame her.
Yeah.
So, it is what it is.
That's hilarious.
That's what getting married does.
Yeah.
So
That's hilarious. Well, I think that's good, man.
Cool.
I appreciate you
coming
over here, Nick. That was fun, man.
I appreciate
We're
you.
We're going to forget about the first 30 seconds, but I think
you can do whatever you want to do. I'm kind of hoping nothing recorded, so we have to do it again.
That was great. Cool.
Awesome.